considerations anyone programming a recital would have, just maybe on a focus of accessibility too.
That makes sense. Yeah. Which maybe people don't think about enough, you know?
They do not. Sorry, that's a
Right.
whole huge philosophy with me and my personal programming is people don't think about the audience enough.
Oh, tell me about it then.
So, drinking some water before I go down this hole. I kind of had this complex going through music college, and my undergrad and masters were like, I felt guilty about being a performer and making it all about me. And anyone that knows me, that probably sounds really weird because I'm a very loud, talkative, look at me person.
Yeah.
But I felt bad because everyone's had that like, oh, you guys got to make sure you go to this 1.5 hour long orchestra concert because your classmate is playing the Old Castle solo for 5 minutes in the middle of that.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's an 1.5 hours of my Friday night, and I have to go to this. And you know, like, there's a certain sense of obligation for some of these, you know.
Sure.
Or go to the band concerts. Do I like? Let's say you're in the Wind Symphony at your college. You go to the symphony band concerts. You should. Can you make every single one? Maybe not. So when it came to my recitals, I always felt really bad because basically the rest of the studio is forced to be at your recital within reason, obviously. And so I just like came from the perspective of like, they're coming to my recital. I have to entertain them. I have to do something that they're going to like. And as I got deeper and deeper into that, I just strayed further and further away from the more out there stuff, which I still appreciate and it's valuable, obviously. But like my last live recital at Michigan State before I left was a really fun recital. That was like one of my favorite ones I've ever played. I played the Cyberbird Concerto piano reduction, but I also had Mickey, who was a percussionist at Michigan State at the time. She played drum set with a bunch of like colorful instruments,
Cool.
you know, and so we played that. I think the most academic thing I played was Glint.
Okay.
I played a piece that I commissioned from Timothy Peterson for like rhythm section and rapper. And I did, as a thank you to my now wife Elizabeth, an arrangement of a popular tune, Julep by the Punch Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
did an arrangement of that, had a vocalist in also. And so I just tried to do this like fun stuff that people want to listen to while also having depth. And just because something doesn't have depth doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. Like pop music has use and value. Like the most industrialized, produced, simple, like recycled pop music you can think of, that still has value and that people still like that. And that's still a huge audience. So, but I do still want to give it that depth that's expected of an academic recital.
Yeah, totally. I really like the philosophy of, you know, playing music that you want to play. Just because you play blank doesn't mean that you should feel excluded from playing blank. You know, it's whatever you play, you should play what you want. It's play, you know, and like that's the word, you know? And so, cause I think it is interesting how instruments, I don't know, I said this earlier, like pigeonholed into, it's like this, you play this, so you're going to play this. And it's like, well, I want to play this. No. And it's like, no, it shouldn't be no. It should be yes. Like, you should play whatever you want. There was a horn player at my undergrad who was incredible at jazz, and he played jazz horn, which is, like, really interesting. But it was, like, also really refreshing, too, because, like, that sound is so unique. And so I think that there can be, like, uniqueness in those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, just playing music. If you play something that's, like, atypical of a genre, I don't think that's a bad thing, you know? I think that if you spin it the right way, it could be a benefit, you know? Like a good thing.
Yeah, give your recitals, I mean, in an undergrad, you kind of have to, you know, you got to play the standards.
Yeah.
Your professor's going to say, you got to play doll concerto on this. Awesome, you should do that. I did that. Everyone has to do that while they're learning the instrument. But especially as you advance in your degrees, put a spin on it. Make someone remember your recital. Make someone not be there out of obligation and fall asleep in minute 30 of a barrio, what have you. And that's all. And if that's your thing, do that too.
Right.
That's not bad. But like, I wanted to entertain. Music has always been about entertaining for me. And so I move away from the pieces where it's like, yeah, when you sit down with the score and 3 degrees of music knowledge in your head and analyze through it, it's entertaining.
Right.
Those are great pieces and they have value. But I like the ones that are entertaining on their first listen. And yeah, I like to give it a theme, and I've always thought about entertaining the audience, which is why my favorite thing to perform is Stars and Stripes Forever with the band. Because, you know, we're the Sousa band. Sousa was our director in the President's Zone about 100 years ago. And it's like we're the band playing the piece.
Right.
I will stop loving to play that when people stop losing their minds every time they hear us play it. I don't know if I've ever played it without a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And that's so much fun for me to see the response, the actual impact of what I do in the world. And you get to see a physical manifestation of the meaning of your music. And that just means so much to me. And I try to chase that in everything that I do.
That's awesome.